At the time, I was pulling a 550 deadlift, and I thought I was like, yeah, this is a big number. This is great. Yeah, I was informed by my friend that in my weight class, 550 on the deadlift is not even the entry number. I wouldn't even meet minimum deadlift for my weight class in Strongman. And I was like, okay, well, what is this about? Let's try this out.
Got a new
And
challenge.
so I was like, this is cool. And so I ended up doing Strongman. I still kind of do Strongman type workouts. I enjoy it. Like, it's a lot more fun than bodybuilding or powerlifting. So again, I found something I enjoyed. I found a community I click with, an activity I enjoy.
More than 73% of Americans have overweight or obesity, while more than 12% have food insecurity. America is getting heavier, sicker, and more isolated from each other every day. Our motto, Move, Eat, Give, reflects our belief that virtually every problem in America could be fixed if we took better care of ourselves and took better care of each other. Welcome to Interrupt Hunger's Move, Eat, Give podcast, where we talk with experts in exercise is medicine, food is medicine, and food insecurity. And understanding that knowledge isn't always enough to help you lose weight. Every other episode showcases someone who's lost at least 10% body weight to share exactly how they did it. Interrupt Hunger is a 501c3 nonprofit which helps you lose weight while feeding the hungry. Bring our free 12-week weight loss challenge and donate your weight program to the places you live, work, and pray. We fund our mission with sales from our Move, Eat, Give bracelets and clothing, so please visit us at interrupthunger.org to show your support. 50 meals are donated for every item sold to the nation's largest hunger relief network. So you get to look good while feeling good. Now on to today's episode. Hey everyone, Jolly here with Interrupt Hunger. We've got Robert Chase with us today. I've known Robert for quite a while because Tracy and I just celebrated our 30th anniversary. Robert was actually our ring bearer when we got married. So I've known him and his family for quite a while. Been able to kind of keep track on his life. I think y'all are going to find a really interesting journey of the struggle of weight, and then going through the process of getting in shape and turning into what you see today. So with that, Robert, thanks for joining us today, man.
Hey there.
Okay, so yeah, quite welcome. So all right, so why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself first?
Well, I'm Robert Case. I'm 33. Currently work as a firefighter, paramedic. Right now I do contract-based deployments, kind of go needs-based wherever. I could end up anywhere really. I also do part-time work at the ER, part of trauma team. I work at a level 1 hospital, so kind of a little bit of everything, but all of it's kind of catered around emergency services. I am married, no kids. I got 2 rabbits and 2 dogs, and then a cat that's around here somewhere. So it's just me and her, just hanging out, figuring out life together there.
So what town are you in? Where's the hospital at?
Plano.
So why don't we start by just kind of walking us through what it was like as far as a struggle with you and weight growing up and when that happened, and then take us up until the time where things started to change as far as your health goes.
I guess, I mean, you were around when I was a little kid. I'd always been like a bigger guy. Never really been a small kid. So kind of from a real young age, just kind of had given into that I'm always going to be bigger. It's how much I can do about it. Just is what it is. And so over the years of just, I guess, lack of understanding, just eating, inactivity, and everything, things just kind of built up over time. I've always been kind of a nerd, been in video games, anime, just kind of hanging out. And that coupled with over enjoyment of eating, everything kind of caught up to me. It was actually, it was on my 23rd birthday. I was just kind of hanging out, and I caught a look at myself in the mirror, and I didn't like what I saw. Wasn't happy. Honestly, didn't really even recognize. Kind of gave me pause, and it was kind of a moment that I realized, like, I don't really look at myself often. So I hadn't really the changes as they had accumulated over the years. It just kind of was a oh shit moment. Like, where am I? What did I do? This is what I'm not happy with what I see. And so it's kind of hard to there's a whole lot of thoughts at once. Like part of video gaming, online gaming, everything is we always fixate on min-maxing, like getting the most out of the minimum effort, making the best effort towards things and trying to get the best results for yourself. And kind of over time, like even leading up before that, kind of learning little bits about the human body and what we can do. I never really acted on it. It's just information gathered, like, oh, hey, that's neat, that's interesting, good to know. And just one day it just kind of clicked that there's really no difference in the efforts I'm making to learn and figure out and build my character as opposed to spending that same amount of time and effort on building my body. And so there was a lot that went down on that day, but what culminated in that, I ended up signing up for the gym the very next day. Kind of was a big turnaround. And when I went in, my very first day of weigh-in, went in, weighed in, I was 340 pounds. Was honestly kind of blindsided. I
Hold
mean,
on,
I knew it was,
real quick, 340. How tall are you? You're pretty big.
6'2".
Okay. All right. Go ahead, sir.
So that was, I mean, I knew I weighed a lot. I was a big guy. I was no under no presumption that, hey, I'm lighter than I am. I was wearing a 2X shirt and all that. Like, so part of it was a surprise the weight was so high, but also it's kind of like, oh, no, duh, that number's so high. I need to work on this. So that was just kind of the no turning back moment because all the facts were facing me right there, you know? Like, here's where I am. I'm not happy where I am. I know why I'm here. I got to do something about it. You know, it was, took me a little while to figure out what worked and what I actually enjoyed, but that was just kind of my, I need to do something moment was on my 23rd birthday. I decided to do something about being unhappy with my situation for so long.
So 23 and 340 pounds. That's pretty young. How did besides appearances, like what was it? What did you feel like? What did you know? I mean, still pretty young, so you didn't have a lot of time for like chronic health issues to pick up. But like, what was it like carrying 340 pounds around?
It was I a hot, uncomfortable, just like chairs, cars, basic activities, just moving through life was uncomfortable. I mean, to be completely blunt, I'm a 23-year-old dude, all right? So like the women I was interested in had no interest in somebody at my size at that age. And so that also kind of hit a little close to home, you know, like I want this, but I'm not making that effort back. So it was kind of just all around just an uncomfortable and unpleasant experience. Like clothes that I wanted to wear didn't come in that size. There are specific made racing chairs that go into your cars, like when we build like drift cars, rally cars, and stuff. My back was too wide. I did not fit in them. I couldn't buy a bride chair and sit in it just because they were not made for people of that size. So sitting in a roller coaster was uncomfortable. Watching activities that other people do with no strain or exertion did actually take effort. Not, I wasn't quite to the point where, oh, I'm winded going upstairs or my joints hurt and stuff like that, but I did very notably realize it took a lot more effort for me to do things that other people just kind of went through life doing without a second thought. It was just, it is what it is, and I had to take into consideration doing certain activities.
I got you. Going back to what you said a few minutes ago, it's just I don't know. It landed on me pretty profoundly. You said you want to put the same amount of time into your health as you were putting into your character. That's
Yeah.
for a 23-year-old young man. That's pretty profound.
I don't. I don't know. It just kind of clicked because we are sitting there one day because we write out like equations and figure out like the best way to optimize things. And it was just kind of the thought, like, actually, I think it was a buddy of mine. We were just hanging out and he was just like, man, it'd be cool if you could just write equations for humans. And kind of was the realization, like, why can't you? Why not? Like, the information is out there. I mean, maybe it's not as linearly like one-to-one direct as, you know, a program would be because everybody does vary a little bit, but why not? We have the information to kind of figure that stuff out. And that was kind of like the start of thinking about that. That was all also like right in the beginning going to the gym. So still figuring a lot of that out. But it was the kind of the why not moment there.
Wow. So you start working out. Like, did it take a while for it to hook, or were you like, as soon as you started, you're like, man, this is you feel the drive.
So I felt the drive, and I guess the best way to put this is when I do stuff, I kind of go all in. There's no like half effort for anything, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. It did kind of get more into specifics on what I mean about that a little later things, but it took a little while to figure out what I actually enjoyed. Yes, because when I signed up, I went. I haven't missed a day since. For a long time in the beginning, it was like this sucks. I hate every day. I got it. I have to do it. There's nothing I'm looking forward to. It's just another chore. And it took a little while to find ways to enjoy it, find what I enjoyed about it, and to find more efficient things so I'm not hating what I'm doing so much.
Oh, that yeah, it's such an important thing to say because you just hear the best exercise. Somebody say like, "Hey, what's the best exercise for losing weight?" And obviously it's the one you enjoy. So the
It's
fact that
something that you don't
have
hate.
yeah yeah. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to stick to it at all. So like what? So talk to so you started like you know a lot now. Fast forward kind of 10 years. You've learned a ton about
Yeah.
health and how your body works and lifting and all that kind of stuff. Like kind of talk to us about what that journey was like.
So it's kind of hard when people ask about that now because I know I'm only 33, but the internet now today is very much different than it was when I got started in the journey. Even today, trying to sift the nonsense from the real, from the bro science, from the actual facts is a lot harder than it used to be. Because back in the day, we used to have like actual forums that weren't just bought up ad space by influencers peddling whatever pill they're selling this week. So it was nice to sit in forums with like minded people, like either people who had no idea what they were doing like me, or those who had been there, or those who have been there forever and want to share their information. It was nice to people post up their workout logs. This man, I think of back in the day blogs and stuff. They'd post up their logs, say what they ate, what they did, how they felt, all that stuff. Like you get to read through people's journeys rather than a fluff piece about how this magical pill caused me to lose 40 pounds in an hour, you know? So I do feel like information was easier to get back there then, and a lot of research papers, like going through like bodybuilding.com was not a paid website. NCBI wasn't locked down. We didn't have TikTok and all that just kind of bloody with nonsense. It was very, very straightforward people talking about things, which also included people being honest about maybe the best way to put it, the less savory methods of achieving the way they got their goals instead of pretending to be natural. That they'll tell you, here's what I did, here's what I took. No, I didn't take anything. So it's a little more honest back then, which made it easier to learn.
Yeah.
But my whole career, I've always worked in healthcare. Like my very first job in high school, I worked in a pharmacy, and like it's always been based around healthcare. So kind of as a side effect of that, I've been exposed to a lot of information about the body and things just kind of picked up here and there through work or having to learn for different licensing and certifications I've gained over the years. So that also kind of helped gain some knowledge.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you actually you started enjoying this so much and seeing some pretty significant changes that you actually like started helping some other folks too.
I did actually got when got certified and I did that for a little bit. Got certified as a trainer through NASM. I worked at a gym for a little while, and to be honest, I enjoy this as a hobby, helping friends. Making it a career made it not so fun. Then my thoughts going into it were people who pay for it are going to make more effort and be more serious about it. And I realized that that's not really the case. And the job ended up being frustrating with the amount of excuses, the lack of effort, or just the dumb stuff people would say and do. Just like honestly just nonsense excuses. Like it just kind of got tiring and I went back to healthcare after that because I mean just where I've always been. I just very much enjoy healthcare fields. So I'm in emergency medicine, emergency services now. It's just something I've always enjoyed. I went back to doing that because it was just kind of a mental beatdown to deal with everybody's mental gymnastics and excuses constantly. Because I've been there, I had those same thoughts. And when it comes down to it, you just gotta quiet those that inner voice, the self thought, like, yeah, embrace the suck and get through it because you know it's always gonna be that way. It just kind of gets better over time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You know,
Yeah, that's true.
build a house brick by brick and everybody's expecting miracles in a week, and that's not how anything in life works.
I love that. So, how much do you weigh now?
260 right now.
All right, and that's a lot of muscle.
And
Two
so, so,
for most
so
people,
you got to
a lot.
change that a little explanation on that. So when I had started, I was all I was hyper fixated on weight loss, right? I went from 340 to 190 in 15 months.
Holy cow!
And like, it was, it, yes, it's fast, but also it was a mild dietary restrictions. Like when it came down to it, calories in, calories out, I tracked everything I ate, everything I drank, everything I did. I weighed myself every morning and every night. I charted it out as part of going back to equations and stuff. I could watch and predict where I should be based on water weight trend and all that. Like super, super hyper obsessive in the very beginning. And the thing is, like, it worked because it kept me on track because being able to track things so closely, I wouldn't stress so much if, oh, I am up 3 pounds today. Well, okay, that's kind of normal. It's water weight. I kind of did that last week, and then it was down 4 at the end of the week, you know. So on one hand, being hyper obsessive at the beginning kind of helped, but again, hyper obsession is not really an ideal way to go into things on that because I did have to figure out a more moderate approach to things because Uh, that was not the healthiest approach to it, but hey, it got me my goal in a super fast time and it worked well. Problem is, when I hit 190, to be honest, I was pretty equally dissatisfied with where I was at that point, too,
Wow.
because I lost all this weight, but now I'm just small. You know, like I don't feel any better. It doesn't make me feel better about myself. Like, yeah, I'm lighter. I'm wearing mediums and large shirts now. Okay, that's cool. I haven't done that since middle school, but that wasn't really where I wanted to be. And that's kind of when I focused because it was almost exclusively cardio in the beginning with a little bit of weightlifting. And I found a little more weightlifting programs. Like I'm spacing on a couple names right now, but Starting Strength is one of the programs I read through. But the big one that I actually stuck with for a while is Medi, MEHDI, has it's a strong lifts 5x5. It's a bench squat deadlift 3 times a week. Focus on that in just linear progression. Basically, you found your starting weight, you increased your weight by 5 pounds. I can't remember if it was per workout or per week on that, but it's just a slow and steady progression on that. And then the difference that that made as I started putting on, like getting stronger, actually felt better than getting lighter, if that made sense.
Yeah.
And so watching my strength go up, it was odd because the more I lifted, the more I could eat and still stay right on my weight goal or still lean out or whatever. Because like right now, my weight, my activity level, like when it comes time for me to cut, I eat 3,500 calories a day and I lose about a pound a week. Lifting was just kind of like that aha moment. Like this is what I need to focus on to be happier, to feel better. If I was looking at it, so to be bigger, be stronger. And so I did that and eventually found powerlifting because I found other guys who were at first in, so I back up a little bit. At first in the gym, it was everybody was fixated on just like functional fitness, maybe a little bit of physique or just getting in to do it or whatever. Nobody really cared about strength and numbers or whatever. And I discovered the powerlifting community and they were all about like, let's get as strong as we can. And I was like, this is cool, you know? Like I want to do that. Like let's see how strong I can get. Like why would you not want to push your body to see what you're capable of instead of just sitting there and going, ah, that'd be nice. Like, let's do it. And I did powerlifting for a couple years, and then I came across a different group of people, the strongmen. And when talking to a couple of buddies who were in strongman, I realized like the big guys, the big numbers that they lift in powerlifting, like you might be strong in powerlifting. Well, congratulations, you're entry level for strongman. And that was fascinating. Like at the time I was pulling a 550 deadlift and I thought I was like, yeah, this is a big number. This is great. Yeah, I was informed by my friend that in my weight class, 550 on the deadlift is not even the entry number. I wouldn't even meet minimum deadlift for my weight class in strongman. And I was like, okay, what is this about? Let's try this out.
Got a new
And
challenge.
so I was like, this is cool. And so I ended up doing strongman. I still kind of do strongman type workouts. I enjoy it. Like, it's a lot more fun than bodybuilding or powerlifting. So again, I found something I enjoyed. I found a community I click with, an activity I enjoy. I kind of think I got sidetracked on what I was talking
No,
about
you're
there,
fine, you're fine.
but
No, you. It's a great point because like you have a plan. In the beginning, you don't have a plan. You just start moving, and then you figure out what you like, and then you start going for a while, and then you find something else you like, and so like it's okay to change and just keep trying things until you find something that clicks. And as you get older, your tastes and likes are going to change. Your community might change, but you're always doing something, and you're always looking for the right fit.
the newest discovery, I still hate it. Don't get me wrong. I still hate running. Yeah, envy those of you who actually enjoy running. I hate every minute of it, but I've been doing it a lot more. Like even at my weight, I got an 8 minute mile, which I know that's not wildly impressive, but at 260 pounds,
It's
I'll
good.
take it. That's good. So I feel that doing cardio a little more often has been a little more beneficial towards my career. I feel like I do better in gear, do better on rescue calls. I last longer on air. Like I just all around feel better at my job. Like, yeah, I've always been not always, I'm not going to be that cocky, but generally I've been the strongest guy in the group I've been with or any crew I've been on. I've been probably the strongest guy there. Yeah, that's great. But just because if I get burnt out in half the time of the other guys, it doesn't matter, you know? And now
You're
I'm
not
doing
strong.
better. Like
Yeah.
my latest realization is I'm not really getting any faster at all. It kind of sucks. It hitting a wall. I can't go faster, but I can maintain that speed for longer. And I'm cool with that. Like, okay, that's a small progress. I'm not big into heart rate tracking, but I do kind of keep an eye on it because one of the things we do, we got yearly stress cardio tests. They put me up to an EKG, run on a treadmill until you feel like you're dying, and then they make sure if our heart's healthy, you know?
Yeah.
So we're kind of fascinating to watch that is where when at the end of a run, I don't know, I'll be sitting in the high 160s, mid 170s or whatever. Like, I'm not sure how healthy or great that is, whatever. It is what it is there. But it used to be 10 minutes till I'm back down to the low hundreds or under 100, like almost baseline again, be 10 minutes or so. Like, even just the other day, I realized like it was 2 minutes. Like, I finished my run, I was at 168. And by the time I walked to the water fountain, I was at 112. I was like, wow, that's the fastest it's ever dropped. And then I was in the mid 90s before even I think it was like 2 or 3 minutes after I got off the treadmill. I was like, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like
It's really good.
I
Yeah.
don't it's not something I see, it's not really something I feel, it's not really something I can show anybody, but it was like kind of a cool accomplishment to be like, okay, all this stuff does kind of make a difference somewhere, at least for my health there.
Yeah, it totally does. I know. Yeah, so like my passion is trail running, and once I hit 50 a couple of years ago, I remember what I could run 5K. I could break 20 minutes on a 5K when I was 23, and so like throughout my 40s, I'm like, damn it, I could get back to that, and then all of a sudden, I finally like I'm never gonna hit that, and so I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be faster than these young guys, but you know what, damn it, I can go farther. And so you always have
Yeah.
to, you always have to have something. I know my heart rate. I got my Garmin. So when I'm running, the cool thing now is you just pay attention to your body so much that if I look down at my Garmin when I'm running, I can tell within 3 beats, plus or minus, like what my heart rate is. And if as soon as I know it's too fast, then hey, I'm like, oh, wow, I'm going too fast and need to slow down, or my hydration, my salt's off, something like that. So it's just you do it enough, whatever it is, lifting or running or whatever, you start to know your body. And one of my favorite numbers right now is resting heart rate. So like when I wake up in the morning, I want to get that down like as low as possible, just to know that my heart's in good shape.
Probably as counterintuitive as it is, I definitely probably should I do cardio for the cardio protective benefits. I do stuff to take care of my heart, but I consume an inordinate amount of caffeine on a daily basis. I think that just kind of comes with my career of choice. Like, unfortunately, I do have a pretty bad vice, a very heavy nicotine and heavy caffeine consumption. I think that just comes with part of being on a fire crew. That's just everybody. everybody does it. It's
Okay. Yeah.
really hard. Like I made the effort to come off. I did okay, and then not just around it all the time. It is what it is. And then running 48-hour shifts and running back-to-back calls, it's like caffeine becomes almost necessary. So that's also one of the reasons I ended up leaning back into cardio, eating a little better, taking better, more conscious decisions in my diet on that is because I have these obvious detractors to my heart health. So I got to at least do a couple things to try to help offset that. Even if it's not going to be a net zero or a benefit, at least I can try to minimize the damage.
Yeah. So let's get into like a typical of exercise. Like walk us like what do you do on what day and what time? Because one of the reasons why we asked about family dynamics and work dynamics is it's going to be completely different if you've got like two professionals with no kids, or you've got like a stay-at-home mom with four kids, or like you're doing almost like shift work, and it
Yeah.
fluctuates a lot.
Yeah.
So trying to find time and a routine is really really important.
So
So what's your routine like for a week?
So our situation is probably a little different than most. I can start off saying like I probably average 78 hours of work a week. Some weeks I do as much as 100 because we'll do 48 at the fire station and then I'll do 12-hour shifts at the hospital, sometimes back to back. It just kind of it comes with the territory. I pretty much feel like I live at work a lot of times. And then my wife's a chef as well. So she runs a restaurant in Dallas. And so she's up there a lot. I would say she probably works near as much as I do. So, but it's hard to fit it in sometimes. But what we kind of came down to is we go in the morning, like go before work. I started this before when I was in fire academy. I had to be in class at 7 a.m. and then go to fire academy. I was like, there's no way after going through school all day, going through drill, doing live fire training, there's no way I'm going to be able to mentally push through to go to the gym after class. However, if I go to the gym before class, there's no way I'm going to sit out from training or drill. So it's a better push that way. So it kind of became we go before work, which some days we're at the gym 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, or some days like if I have a hospital shift where I'm working overnights, I'll go at noon, like a couple hours before my shift. But regardless of how early it is, we try to go before work. It sucks sometimes. You get home from work at 10, eat dinner, you're in bed at 11 or whatever, and then we're up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym the next day. It's like, yeah, the lack of sleep is not ideal, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do to fit it in if you've got goals or you're trying to achieve something. And it's just kind of find what works for you. Like for us to be able to work out together, because I got my wife into the gym and she really enjoys it and she's gotten into the strength training aspect of it. And it's the only way she's going to go is before work. And so we joined her on that. While we don't have kids, we do have very demanding careers that eat up a lot of time and stuff. And so it is hard. We had to find time to make that work, which ended up being going before shift, before school. When I was working full time and going to school full time, that was especially rough. But I still made time to go work out. At that time, it was between classes. Like I'd get off work, go to school, go to class. I'd have a break between. I'd go work out, shower at the college, shower there, change, and go to my next class. So it's just kind of made it work where we can. Like I said, since that first day, I really haven't missed any days at all. Much, I mean, there are days I probably should have skipped, but always fit it in. Holidays, birthdays, whatever. Just we're gonna go in the morning, like Christmas morning, we'll go work out before we go see the family. Thanksgiving, like that's maybe a little extreme, but it's routine. It feels good to stick to a routine, have a schedule, something that you can depend on.
Yeah, and it's really neat too that y'all get to do it together. I know when things align and Tracy and I can work out together, it's man, it's like serious bonding time. Even though, even if we're on different exercises, we're there together, and it's, especially with, your schedule and Cameron's schedule, it's pretty crazy. Just to be able to connect is pretty special too. Like what's your exercise schedule like? So like what do you do on what days?
So I That has varied a lot over the years. Most recent, I found something that's worked. I've got results, the strength I'm looking for, and the changes I'm aiming for. I kind of split my day up a little different, days up a little different than some people might. So right now I've got a day where I focus on like shoulder, almost like a push day, but it's basically shoulder and shoulder accessories. So it'd be like overhead press and military press to be my main movers, and then whatever accessory work I would do with that. And at the end of it, I would have core work, either like stabilizer work or actually like crunches, weighted work, whatever. Just kind of every workout I add something for core because I know that's something I have neglected. But I'd have a day for shoulders, I have a day for chest, a day for back. So a lot of pulling movements. My rear, I target my rear delts on that day. And then one thing that does vary from most people I've talked is I do 2 days in a row after that where I focus on leg work. And how I do that is my first day, I go through my squats, like the straight legged deadlift, and maybe some like, I guess the best way to put it is like heavy movers on that, not so much the specific isolation work on that. So the heavy movers will tire you out, big lifts like that. Then the next day, I do my cardio, which is anywhere from a 2 or 3 mile run. And then I do specific isolation work like leg extensions, leg curls, core work, and then time on the Stairmaster. And the reason we do the two legs together is because usually the day after squats, like you're sore and you hurt, and you're like, man, this sucks. I don't want to do anything. And yeah, honestly, the first quarter mile is brutal and I just want to lay down and go to sleep. It sucks. But after the run, I don't have any soreness from my squats. I get to hit a max out the day before. And if I just embrace the suck, push through the run, I feel fine afterwards, which is why I'll go hit some isolation work and then stairs. The stairs are specifically something I do. I don't know if it's not the nicest thing for my knees and hips, but it's something we do encounter a lot in fire. It's something I need to be ready for, need to be prepared, build up endurance for. So it's something I just add, not because I enjoy it, not because I think it's exceptionally great or anything. It might be, but the reason I do it, and that's more career specific, is stair work for that. But I put those two together just because I don't know, they fit. It went well, fit in the time frame I had. I try to get every workout done between an hour to an hour and a half tops, like just so I'm not eating up half my day in the gym. And so now sometimes like on cardio, I can bust it out in under an hour, and that's fantastic. I kind of, it's a 5 day split. I don't run a rest day between. As soon as I hit that second leg day, I go back to my chest day, which is not something I recommend people doing. It's something I've built up over 10 years for. Because when I started, I did Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I did 3 days a week. That's all I did. That was fine. That's how I got my results. Just over time, let's break, instead of encompassing bench, squat, deadlift together, how about I split them out? So I had 4 days and then I focused on that more. And then it became a 5 day, and then I did a 6 day bodybuilding split. And then when I added swimming, which I honestly think swimming laps and all that was the least abusive to my joints as far as cardio goes. But unfortunately, for the last year and a half, I've been having extensive amount of tattoo work done. So I've been basically in a perpetual state of healing for a year and a half. So I haven't been in a pool for longer than that. Haven't had the opportunity until everything's done. And but now, as everything heals, I will go and get more stuff done. So eventually, I'll get back to swimming. But that has been kind of sidelined. That had been the thing I noticed helped my VO2 max, my breathing, my cardio. I felt better endurance wise, and it didn't feel like I just beat the crap out of my knees and hips after I did it. So it was less abusive.
Exercise.
Especially at this weight, I'll admit, like, it hurts to run sometimes, but it's something I do. I just embrace the suck. I just have soreness and stuff. It's not pain per se, but it's just kind of something that comes at this size. Because, like I said before, when I got down to 190, I didn't want to be tiny anymore. And I was always fascinated by like Munzer and Wolf and Schwarzenegger and even Piana, like looking at the big guys. And I was just like, I want to try to get there, like all these people, like you see so many of them. One of the things that through my journey was realizing that a lot of those guys didn't achieve that in super healthy ways. And it was, unfortunately, it was jarring because a lot of the guys, a couple that I had actually even spoken to, had conversations with online and stuff, started watching guys my age dying. And like Dallas Carver was a big one that kind of hit, and you're like, oh crap. Like, and then Piana and all that. And you're just, that was also the eye opener that maybe not that far, maybe not like that. And so kind of seeing both ends of the spectrum, from wanting to be really small to wanting to be super huge, and then being able to confront firsthand the negatives of both of those and kind of find where I actually am happy at, was kind of part of my journey as well. Because I kind of started it not knowing where I wanted to end up. And to be honest, I still don't. I mean, I have numbers, strength goals, and just overall the goal is to just be happy with what you see. And that's kind of a hard thing to quantify. Like, you can't explain, hey, when I get exactly this will make me happy. This is my goal. This is the end. Because happiness is not something that you can really write down and explain, because it'll be different for everybody. I think that's where I'm at right now, is trying to figure out what my end goal, what my happiness actually is.
Yeah, I like that. In the man, there's just a ton of introspect that you laid
Yeah.
out in the last 5 minutes, but it's man, I think it's so cliche, but it's so true, man. It's the journey, like getting joy in every workout that you can. I mean, some more than
It's
others, but man, just like you wake up and you're excited for the workout, or if you miss it for some reason,
kind of
you're like, you're
almost get a funk. It throws everything off. It throws your whole week, your plan, throws your day off when you miss it. You're just like, man,
you miss those
that's,
endorphins.
yeah. Like, it's been nice. Like, I've hit most of my goals I'd set for myself. Some of them I did stupidly, but have hit everything I've set so far. I've got new goals I'm trying to accomplish. I've got, unfortunately, injuries caused by goals that I'm overcoming to get back to it, and a little bit too cocky and excited and end up hurting myself a couple times, but nothing like super serious. Again, it's all like finding a goal and it feeling, learning if it's realistic or not. It's a big part of the journey was finding your limitations. And one thing you had said earlier, part of your running and being able to know where your heart rate is it was very nice to know, being able to listen to my body warn me before I do something that's bad. Because I've only had minor tweaks and stuff here and there because I can listen and not push through that. And that's helped a lot there. Like, they even, especially at comp day, when the adrenaline's pumping and you're there and you're trying to break a tie to get first place, you just kind of know. Because that happened to me. Pulled a 780 deadlift at comp, and I was like, it didn't feel too bad. And the next step was 800, and I went to lift it. It broke ground, and then just I got it, and then I got it up, and then something just fell off. Like, there's nothing I could really explain. It was just like, hey, don't, just put it down. And I dropped it. I called it there, whatever. Got my third place from that. But I can't even like tangibly explain like what I felt or what I thought at the moment. But it's just something said,
It
don't
wasn't up.
do it.
It was just
Not.
off. Yeah.
And I just didn't do it. So it's nice being able to have those cues now.
And not feel threatened that you tried to do something and you didn't do it.
Yeah.
It's more important to be able to listen to your body and just get back up the next day. So that's good. All right, let's change gears for eating. I thought it was kind of funny that you said you dropped down to 3,500 calories a day for cut day. That's pretty solid. But what's your eating style like? And talk to us about some, yeah, first eating style, and then kind of walk through a breakfast, a lunch, a dinner, and some snacks.
Uh, Very different through my time. Are you wanting specifically right now? I mean, I can talk a little bit more about how it was in the beginning, but right now I have, luckily with my activity level and with work, I largely get to eat freely. I am conscientious about what I consume. I have a minimum amount of protein. Like, I do have protein shakes. I mean, I like eat large amount of meat and stuff like that. Like, my number one focus right now, I minimize and avoid sugar as much as I can. Try to not. I don't generally eat deep fried or fried foods, and consume a minimum amount of protein every day. But beyond those three rules I've set for myself, I kind of, if I'm hungry, I eat. Whatever I feel like I'll eat. Like, It's kind of unfair to explain that because in the month of June, I went and I had sushi 21 times, you know? And now in the month of June, I also hit a few PRs. Now we don't put that data and go, hey, sushi is good for gains. Not necessarily. It was just I was eating something I enjoyed that fit within the rules I set for myself and still allowed me to hit all the goals I had for the month, which is the one thing I try to tell people is it's not like you don't need to eat something specific. You don't need to avoid certain specific things. I mean, outside of like sugar, empty fats, and alcohol, yeah, of course, those are nutritionally empty. But by and large, it just comes down to total calorie counts for the day for me. Like, I've spent a long time obsessively counting and weighing and tracking everything to where I got a fairly decent eyeball at food sizes, portions, stuff like that. I kind of have an idea of, okay, this is about this much. Like, I'm sure I'm off. I'm not going to pretend to be spot on, but I do have a general idea of what I'm consuming so I can kind of be a little more conscientious in my decisions on splurges and snacks. But I've also found consuming higher amounts of protein, like if I'm trying to gain weight in bulk or whatever, I'll eat as much as 300 grams of protein a day, which I know is a lot. And all papers and stuff like that say that's a little bit too much. It's more than your body's going to use. But from personal experience, consuming more protein makes me feel more satiated. Like I feel fuller longer, and it lasts longer than if I had a high carb meal or even fats. So if you'd say add fats to feel satisfied and satiated with your meals, if I got a big chunk of meat, man, I'm gonna sit and digest that for a lot longer than anything else. And so I found that's what works for me. Plus, it's protein is the key to growing muscle. It's the key to recovery. We need glycogen. We need carbs for glycogen and for our brain and to restore like the energy our muscles use. So carbs are not the enemy either.
Yeah. So
So
what's a go-to breakfast for you?
Uh, that depends on the time of year. Right now, I work out fasted. I've found I've enjoyed that. And I mean, I wake up, I have my aminos. I really, really enjoy citrulline pre-workout. I do my pre-workout and add citrulline powder to that. And I've been doing I guess it's a couple months now. I've been doing fasted workout and I eat after. And then breakfast, remember, my schedule's a little weird. All right, so I could have just got off work, and 7 a.m. for me is nighttime. So sometimes my breakfast, maybe I'm gonna go cook some mac and cheese or have Alfredo because my breakfast, I'm getting off shift. So it's the time of my dinner time. A lot of people look at that weird because, like, I'm having spaghetti and a glass of whiskey at 8 o'clock in the morning, and people are like, oh, that's wild. I'm like, well, I've been awake for 48 hours. This is my dinner. I'm about to go to bed, you know? So, like, my times and food choices are a little odd just due to schedule, but if I'm off and it's like a normal breakfast time, I love eggs. Eggs over rice, super basic, super simple. I find it filling and satisfying. You can change the seasoning on it, just drown it in hot sauce, whatever you want, but usually just a couple, like it's anywhere from 2 to 4 over easy eggs on a half a cup of rice. I do enjoy that quite a bit too.
Oh wow. Spaghetti and whiskey.
I mean, it's dinner time. I just got off shift. Like, what are you gonna have for dinner? You gonna have a drink? You gonna have some pasta? It's like just imagine a greater than 70% of the time, your breakfast is me getting ready for bed, dinner time. So it's kind of opposite there. But
That
then
sounds
hit,
like a country song. Spaghetti and whiskey. I don't know.
but then hey, you laugh at them. But at the same time, if you said you were gonna have eggs and hash browns for dinner, nobody'd think that's wild.
Yeah,
But
sure.
as soon as I talk about having pizza for breakfast, then all of a sudden it's weird, you know? Like, well, like, I don't know. We can switch it up, be a little different
Yeah.
there.
So when did you what about lunch? What's a favorite lunch? No matter whatever time it is for you, but you have one or two go-tos?
Obviously, sushi is probably my number one go-to on that one. And again, like lately, I have a lot more freedom and flexibility in that. And so depending on where I'm at, I got a couple spots I go to. Like to get a taco plate from a local taqueria and stuff is good. Just like 4 tacos, some rice and beans. Like maybe not the healthiest option, but it's filling. I very much enjoy tacos or burrito bowls, and then which I don't know. I love fish, so I'm not very good at cooking it, so anywhere I can get it and somebody else has either prepared it or I get to have it raw, I'm gonna go for it because I can't for the life of me figure out how to cook it where it doesn't suck myself. So I enjoy it from other people.
Yeah, I could do. I think I could alternate pretty much every other day doing like a burrito bowl and a poke bowl, and just go. I'm good.
I'd be happy with that forever, honestly. Like I know it drives my wife crazy. She's like, "What do you want?" I was like, "Poke or sushi," and she's like, "No, you gotta do something else."
That's
And
funny.
so you just kind of find things you like. When I started out, I was a little more strict with everything. Like my breakfast would have been I did two scoops of protein powder, like one of the bigger blenders, whatever. And you can put protein powder, a little bit of water, the frozen mango chunks, and then a quarter cup of dried oats blended up, and I got a smoothie there. I know oats, mangoes, and protein powder might sound weird, but try it. It's fantastic.
That was my lunch today, and mine
And
was
then the
some blueberries and spinach and protein
kind
powder,
of
oats, and you're
it's
good.
the dried oats were key for breakfast because it just I felt full forever. The fiber was great and everything, and it lasted me until lunch. And lunch was background information. Everything I ate for that for 15 months, I lost the weight. I ate the exact same everything at the exact same time. Now, it didn't mean I had the same seasoning or the same sauce, but I'd have like the same 8 ounces of chicken. I'd have the same two scoops of protein. Dinner would be the same 1 cup of rice and half cup of it. Like it was the same like basic portions and everything, but with different than seasoning and sauces. Because I mean, it's super super easy to plan, purchase for, and think and track and everything. But like lunch would be 4 to 8 ounce portion of meat and then some sort of vegetables and either green beans, broccoli, or I bring a salad with it. And then I did a quarter cup of rice just for some carbs to get through the day, and then cheese of some kind. And that was lunch every day. And then dinner was some sort of either fried or sauteed rice with a meat and veggie mix. And I changed up the seasoning and sauces based on how I felt. And I eat those same things, one, because I enjoyed it. It was easy to cook. I could change it up, figure out ways I like it. Because if you have something 3 or 4 times, you make small changes, make it a little better. I don't know, learning there.
Yeah,
Uh, but it also made it easy to track and plan accordingly. It's just
I think I think this is such a huge point for folks listening because when you're in the beginning stages of trying to get healthy and trying to create healthy habits, like it's stressful as heck. And so the more you can do to help your body develop habits, that means that's one less thing you have to think about. And if you have the same breakfast every single morning, figure out what you like, try a bunch of things until you zero in on it, or maybe one, maybe two different breakfasts. And every single day, or lunch, you always have some go-tos. At snack, you always have a go-to, and then you can have some alterations with dinner. But man, I think that's a big key, big takeaway for
just
folks.
try to dummyfy it, make it
Yeah,
easy, and then try to set like an outline that you can swap things rather than have to think of something whole all new every day. You just kind of have your set things to fall back on, which is kind of why I had done with the workout routine. I did the Couch to 5K program because I put it on a hit play and it said, "Hey, run." Okay, now it's time to walk. Oh, it's time to run again. Like, cool. I don't need to think. It's telling me what to do. So that helped a lot in the beginning. And then the strong lifts, it said, "Okay, today you're going to bench and squat and then do some shoulder work. Here's the weights, here's the sets, go do this." Then your next workout, it had the equation, put in your numbers, and it progressed it, filled it out. I had a whole week plan. There was no walking in and thinking, going to the gym, like, what am I going to do today? Okay, what's next? What am I feeling? It was like, even now, is going in with a plan makes it easy to stick with it. Because if you don't have a plan, it's easy to go, I did two, three things, whatever, that's good enough. I'm going to go home. And then if you look back at it in a couple weeks, you're like, man, I kind of half assed that day at the gym. But if you plan it ahead and pick what you wanted to do and what your goals had set, it's easier to just stick to it, embrace the suck, and push through it.
totally agree. Yeah, it makes all the difference in the world. If you, man, I try to hammer home the desperate need to have a plan for your workout and for your food. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if you just want to start walking 5 days a week at a time, at 6 a.m. for 20 minutes. Just have a plan. Makes all the difference in the world.
Every everything is better than nothing, and any little bit adds up over time. When I started, again, talking about how the internet was very different back then, like it was fantastic. I had an app called MyFitnessPal. It's still around. It's just very, very different now. Because back then it was free. Made an account. You could scan a barcode. It'll show me the nutrition facts on things. It can either show you by recommended serving size, or you click the little drop down and change it to measure by grams, which is even better because then you can weigh everything. No, I'm having this many grams of this thing. It'll track your calories, your macros, and everything. Put it in, and I'd watch for the day. I would know where I'm at, what I've consumed, what I have left, or what I'm still needing to eat. And so having tracking like that helped with accountability. So there was no mindless snacking because I'm going to track that. Honestly, that helped too, because you're like, I want to eat that little candy bar, but I really don't want to go get my phone to track this. So never mind, I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to have that soda because then I got to account for that. I don't want to take the effort to track it. So I can either lie to myself and not track it, or I can just be lazy and not track it and not consume it. So I chose the almost lazy route. Like, I'm not going to eat it, so I don't have to worry about it. And that
Yeah,
helped that way because accountability.
yeah, sure. No, I get that. I get that. Okay. Wow, this is you've laid down a ton of knowledge here, and I think this has been really cool. Um, so change gears one more time. Uh, you told me about your next adventure that's coming up,
Mhm.
and I think that is cool as hell. So tell us what you got planned.
I'm actually about to get ready to deploy down to go work at an airfield down in Antarctica for a few months. Work as the firefighter, paramedic down there, part of their fire department for a few months. Not sure how long we're gonna stay. I've got a contracted end date, but I've been told they may extend. We may ask me to stay later, whatever. I don't. That's kind of the end is something I will approach when it comes to. But I'm gonna be hanging out down south for a little while, just go see something new, go to a place that not a lot of people go to.
I
Uh,
love that. Totally different. And I also love, like, you've been thinking about this for a while, and the fact that
yeah.
you didn't forget about your dreams.
No, I came across actually, I saw a little something about it long, long time ago. But I was just like, okay, that's cool. I didn't really think much about it. And then it popped up again, like I popped up during Fire Academy again, like, hey, this is a thing that people do. And had always been employed by a city and had a job that kind of did not, there's no way they'd let me go from work for 6 months. I wouldn't have a job when I came back. And so I made some decisions over the last year that put me in a position to be able to pick and choose and go different places and deploy out. And this is one of the one. This is one of the ones that I've wanted to do, and I finally getting the option after very a very long process of getting started on that is kind of coming up soon. Actually, here in a few weeks.
Yeah, I love that. I'm so excited for you. And man, I had goosebumps. Like, it felt like the entire time you were telling me about that. And it also helps that you have a very loving and supportive wife in Cameron. That is,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot on on her or the person that's not going. So the fact that
Yes.
she's encouraging you to do this is really says a lot about her. It's really and y'all's
Uh,
relationship. It's cool.
yeah, she is probably one of my biggest supporters on that. She did give me some constraints on the how long I can be there because some of the numbers they threw out to me in the beginning were kind of crazy for how long it would be. And she did. I have some outlines on that, but overall, she's super supportive and excited for it too.
That's fantastic. I can't wait to follow along in your journey and just hear from you. So, so to wrap this up, say you just have a chance encounter at the gym or somewhere. You're sitting next to somebody on a plane or whatever, and they're primed. They want to make a change in their life. They just don't really know where to start. Like, if you were to just kind of sum up your last 10 years of knowledge, what are you going to tell
Mm, kind of cliche, but just do it. Make the effort and go. Find a friend who has maybe thinking about the same thing as you, and y'all can start together. Like I've had friends I've gone with, we started with, and they decided it's not for them, and they fell off. But I continued. But find a gym that has an environment that you enjoy. It's not necessarily the fanciest and the nicest gym. Some of my favorite gyms were literally in an old garage with no AC in the Texas summer. It's brutal, but the environment and the people, the equipment, and just the overall energy there was what kept me coming back. So finding an activity you enjoy and surrounding yourself with people who enjoy that activity and have the same interest and passion for it that you do will make it easier to learn your craft, to get better at it. And simultaneously, if you're in there and you're just not feeling it, being around people who enjoy activity and fitness in general can kind of help point you in a new direction. It's kind of how I found powerlifting and found strongman, is like being around people who have been doing it longer than me, that have more information, to not be afraid to ask questions to those people. Like, and I see it all the time. Like, again, not trying to be cocky, but I definitely am the biggest guy in my gym. And I see people look, I've had people who would be like, man, I wanted to ask a question, but I'm afraid to, because I always think it's annoying, which maybe, but not really. We're all here to learn. But also, people get intimidated or embarrassed to ask questions. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all started from zero, and we only learn by either exploring ourselves or gaining that knowledge from others. And if you never reach out and say, hey, I have this question, nobody's going to be able to give you that information, you know? Maybe you don't even know where to begin looking into it, you know? Like, because fitness is super basic, but at the same time, it's extremely complex with a lot of different facets and a lot of different variables. And what you enjoy, things that you like, there's there are ways to achieve it that could be unique to you, and not everybody's journey is going to be perfect for you. You take and pick parts from other people's journeys that fit you the best. Kind of cobble together your own adventure for it.
I love that. That's a good.
But
That's probably a really good place to stop. Man, just start, have a plan, and don't don't be afraid of failure. You can't possibly expect yourself to know everything and
if
make
you're not
changes overnight.
failing, you're not trying.
I love
Because
it.
if you've never reached a point of failure, you've never pushed yourself to the limit, you know? If everything you've ever done, you've always been successful every time, you're underselling yourself and what you should be doing. Because you can't better yourself until you know what your limit is. And if you haven't pushed yourself to your limit, you don't know if you're getting better. Uh,
Wise words, my friend. Man, I was just noticing you're facing sideways from me. That man, you look a lot like your dad right now. That's pretty
I
crazy.
was like, I'm kind of letting this aside. It's not normally that big, but I'm just kind of letting it do its thing for a while to see what happens. I actually hadn't even let mustache grow. It's actually a new thing as of last year, so I'm still trying to get used to it.
It's like
But
a firefighter thing. It totally is. Yeah.
kinda it is, and for the longest time, I actually had been obstinate against doing it for that exact reason. And then I don't know, one day it just came up, like I had an extended watch shift or whatever, and so I had everything kind of grow, was looking a little raggedy. And then my wife was like, "Hey, what does it look like with a mustache? Let's see how it goes." And then just been letting it go since. Like, it was kind of that's how it started.
Very
So
cool. Very cool. Looks good on you, man. But Robert, thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun. Learned a ton
I
from you. It's been you dropped a ton of knowledge, and I think a lot of motivation, a lot of inspiration. You learn a thing or two over 10 years.
yeah, it's you'll get as much back as you put into it. You just gotta not be afraid to ask questions and put yourself out there.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you so
It's,
much.
so thank you.
All right.
Thanks so much for listening. Please rate and review the podcast on the platform of your choice so we can reach more people and more people are recommended this podcast. And if you really liked it, the single best way you can help us grow is by telling your friends. Now, for all the legal stuff. The views and opinion expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. For my day job, I'm an employee of AbbVie and appear on this podcast on my own accord and not in the professional capacity as an AbbVie employee. All viewpoints provided are my personal opinions and not intended to reflect those of my employer. If you have any questions or comments, please shoot me an email at jolly@interrupthunger.org. Let's go spread some joy, people.